Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco. Dish out on the movies. Today we are doing another comedy movie. At least that's what I thought. I guess it's technically a comedy movie, but it's more of a thought-provoking, weird movie. And it stars Peter Sellers. It's called Being There. And it came out in 1979. And there's several stars in it. The ones, I think it's Melvin Douglas plays an older man who's dying and he's rich. And his wife is played by Shirley MacLaine. And, there's other people. Richard Bass Harvey and Jack Warden, who plays the President of the United States. So, anyway, Marco was very mad at me, as usual. I'd never seen the movie. And, of course, as usual, it's based on a book by I guess he's a New York best-selling author who's Polish, and had written a few other things, and I just randomly picked it out. It has Peter Sellers in it, so Peter Sellers is known for his comic movies.
Oh yeah.
And I've seen
Well, Safi.
So I mean, how would I know?
Because the director of this movie. So I was like. At first, I thought maybe this movie will be good because the concept, I thought, was a funny, interesting concept. It sounds like something that they could easily do and, just do a number of things with it. They could literally do anything, And, but I started watching it and I thought, it's pretty good. But then the movie went on. And I was just waiting for something to happen. And then, the president came on, that Jack Warden, he came on, and I thought, there's something smelly here. There's something really funny going on. Something really fishy. And I knew, and I could sense it. I could sense it like a Sherlock Holmes with his magnifying glass. And so I took my magnifying glass and I went online and I saw this movie was directed by the director who did Shampoo. And, that movie. In that movie, hardly anything happened. There was hardly any music.
I haven't seen that movie either. That's Warren Beatty, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
did hear about it, but
terrible movie.
I've never seen it.
And so I was like, oh, this explains everything. This is exactly the type of movie that guy makes. Nothing happens. It's quiet. There's some sort of weird message going on. I did not like this movie very much. I mean, I thought it was okay. It was a lot better than Shampoo. But still, it was still this is exactly the type of movie that guy makes. I guess people like Safi enjoy him.
I don't know. I've never seen Shampoo.
Well, he also did Harold and Maude. I haven't
seen that either.
I thought that movie was the best one out of these three. But
I think a lot of people like that movie.
That was another weird movie, though. Very, very weird. And so
that's not where the young guy loves an old woman.
Yes, Safi.
I guess I have seen it.
And he has an obsession with suicide, and so he constantly stages suicides. It's really weird. But yeah. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, this explains everything. This is what that guy does. This movie. It's a weird movie. It's got some sort of message that I don't even know. I thought maybe since I watched it yesterday and it's today, maybe I would come away with some sort of answer, but no. I'm still just I guess there's a symbol somewhere and, I don't know. I really don't care, honestly, because it just wasn't very good. It wasn't great. It was like it's like a movie that you'd hear about while you're playing Trivial Pursuit,
Yeah.
and you're like, what's that? And then you decide to watch it, and you're like, oh, that's not very good. And then you just move on, you know. Safi.
Well, I'm going to read the last few chapters of the book. I don't think I need to read the whole book. But I want to read the last few just to see what it says and how they end it. Because the thing is, Chauncey is Peter Sellers. And he has been living in this house. It's a really nice house. Like in the middle, it's probably somebody who moved in when the neighborhood was really nice and it's all gone down. And the owner of the house dies. But this guy, and he's like about 50 or something. He's not young. And it starts out, the book, he gets up, or the movie, and he's wearing a beautiful pair of yellow pajamas. And he gets up and he watches TV, and then you see him watering all these plants everywhere and taking really good care. I don't think he says anything. There's a maid, and she gives him something to eat, and she says the old man upstairs has died. So anyway, apparently this guy has lived in this house, Chauncey, since he was a little kid. He can't read, he can't write, he's never been out of the house, he's never been in a car, and because the guys died, the maid leaves, she never comes back. And this lawyer and his assistant or whatever she is, they come in and they say, well, you're not a relative, but anyway, just the whole movie is this guy, he does what he's told. They told me he had until the next day to leave the house, or he's gonna have to find a lawyer and make a claim to something. His name is nowhere. The old man, for heaven's sake, my old man didn't even put him in his will.
Yeah.
Which I think was stupid and disgusting.
Well, it was like it's symbolic. It's like he's not a real person. He is something. I don't know.
I don't know. Well, like I say, he couldn't read or write. He'd never been to school. He'd never even been to the doctor. Because he said he'd never been, and when he gets a shot, because he was injured, that's another part of the story, he'd never had a shot, which means he's never been to the doctor. He's never had his immunizations because he's never left the house. And he's not really a prisoner. There's no locks on the door. He's not chained up. It's like, I don't know, it's just, it's really inexplicable. And so, and he leaves the house, he wears nice clothes. They even show him in the garden. There's a really nice garden outside. And he wears boots, and he wears gloves, and he has an apron to cover his clothing. He has a nice hat. And he wears nice clothing. Even when he leaves the house, he packs up his suitcase, and he doesn't say much. And, well, I'll let Marco take it after that. So you might want to talk about the music, because Marco watched it last night and before I did, and so he made a few comments about the music.
Oh, now Safi's trying to do my review for me.
Well, that's where you can start.
Oh, I didn't even know where to start before that. So, this movie starts off with, and immediately I was like, uh-oh. Because the music was not really present. You had like this little song, and these scenes were very silent, and it was just Peter Sellers staring into space, walking around in a dark room, turning on the TV and stuff. And then, when he's put into the real world, they play this song that was in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
And they play it twice, and it's like a weird, like, 1970s, like, funky cover of it, and it's really, really weird. It doesn't go with the movie at all. And after that, there's literally, like, no music for the rest of the movie, And it's just, I hate these movies where they don't have music, or where they have hardly any music, and the music that's there, it doesn't fit. And
they could have written a score to go with this movie.
I mean, music helps movies a lot. You know, the music is essential to movies, and I just can't stand these movies that don't have music, like Shampoo, and yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm just thinking it because it would have added to the mystery, or the aura, or whatever you want to call it, of this man, and all the things that happen to him, and how people respond to him, and it would have added a lot.
I think what would have added a lot for me is like a story, because there wasn't much of a story. It was basically like a scenario. It kind of reminded me of like, what if there was a Twilight Zone episode without any horror in it?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I can imagine too at the beginning, you know, they always have in the Twilight Zone, they always have a narrative.
Yeah.
They say, this man had never been out of the house since he was a little child. He's always known his life to be there. He's never read, he's never written, he's never gone to the doctor, he's never been to school.
And then Rod Serling takes a big puff of cigarette, and then cigarette stuff just goes all over his suit, and he's like, now back to the story. Chauncey. They call him Chauncey for some reason. And they never stop doing that. And
well, did you ever hear his real last name?
No.
Yeah.
And that's what we're saying. There's no last name. There's no parents. There's something funny going on there. It's symbolic. I don't know what it's symbolic for, but it's symbolic. And, yeah, you can tell.
Yeah, that still irritates me that here he is, he's grown up in this house, and apparently this man, the owner, who just died, he didn't provide for him or anything. I mean, didn't he not think of what would happen if he died? What would happen to him?
I don't know.
Because the bank just took over the place, and they gave Chauncey until the next day at noon to get out. A place that he's never left in his life. And maybe they just didn't believe him when he said, I don't know what he told. I can't even remember. He couldn't read and write, and, you know, I don't know if he even said all that stuff. But he was different. But he really never revealed himself to be a dummy. I mean, he was very, I don't know, the way he came off, it wasn't like that, but I was waiting.
Well, he is a little bit like Forrest Gump, and that he just kind of goes through life, and then he magically succeeds at things and wins people over.
Yeah, everything, actually.
Except he's not an idiot, like Forrest Gump.
No, he's just like uninformed. He's like a blank slate.
Yeah.
Except he knows gardening. And that's probably from the experience of doing it.
What's really weird to me, though, is that he's watched all this TV.
Oh, well, yeah, that's another thing. He's watched a lot of TV. You know, when people come here from other countries, they don't speak any English. They learn English by watching TV. I've heard that a million times.
The TV hasn't really seemed to influence him very much, and I thought that was kind of weird, because, like, what would happen is that, like, the fact that he's watched all this TV would influence him in the wrong direction. So, like, you know, all the violence on TV, all the sex on TV. I thought that would be where the comedy would come from, and like
they didn't show that really.
You know, like the part where he's with the hoodlums, and that guy puts up a switchblade in front of him and threatens him, and then Chauncey, he has little scissors or garden shears, and he puts those up, and you know, I thought that the movie would be more of that. Personally.
Yeah, I mean, all through the movie, before we even tell you what happens, I'm just waiting for somebody to figure out that it's not who they think it is. It's like everybody jumps to conclusions. Everybody actually makes up a narrative about him, and he just doesn't ever refute it. But it's not like he's a liar. He just like smiles and goes along with it, and it's not nefarious at all. It's like he just doesn't know.
Safi was talking about, and see, this is where Safi, she's finally learning. She thought that there would be a big reveal scene.
Yeah, I was ready for the whole movie to wait for the other shoe to drop. And
so I thought it would be at that party, near the end.
Yeah.
And typically in the big reveal scene, they'd be like, "You're a bad guy! You're not who you say you are!"
And he never even said, he said something about Gardner, so they called him Chauncey Gardner.
Yeah.
They thought his last name was Gardner.
Yeah.
And he didn't say anything because I don't know. Maybe he didn't know his last name.
There's no big reveal scene, and there's no sad period.
No.
Yeah, but there kind of is though at the end. It's a little. I guess it's a little sad, but it's not. I don't know. I mean,
when the guy dies,
the ending's weird too. So, right, Safi?
Well, that's why I want to read the end of the last 3 chapters of the book or something to see if they did it better. But from what Marco's read, on the internet, I don't think so. But we'll see. It's not going to hurt me to read 3 chapters of the book.
It might.
I don't know.
It hurt me to watch the movie because I was like, this is exactly what I would have expected from that guy who directed Shampoo. Should have known better.
But Marco said that Peter Sellers wanted to do this movie.
For 9 years.
For 9 years.
Unbelievable.
And then 2 years later, after this movie came out, he died.
Yeah.
And I think he had a very serious heart attack. Well, it was serious. He died. But I mean, it was a massive heart attack.
Oh, that's really important.
Well, I mean, there wasn't... we talk about this Twin Peaks David Lynch guy. And when is he going to do any more Twin Peaks? Because time's running out. All these actors have died. So, I mean, I'm glad that, he wanted to do this
Maybe
movie.
he won't.
Huh?
Maybe he won't because,
well, actually, that's what it looks like.
I wrote a comment on a Twin Peaks page, or no, it was on a film analysis page, and they were saying, what filmmaker needs to come back and do one more thing? And I put in the comments, David Lynch really needs to finish Twin Peaks. And there were these idiots, and they were saying, I thought that Twin Peaks The Return had the perfect conclusion, and I simply couldn't imagine anything else happening in the Twin Peaks universe anymore. It ended perfectly. There were no questions that I had. It was like the conclusion that was meant to be, because he said so, And I was like, that's fucking bullshit. Twin Peaks should have had 6 more seasons by now.
Well, it'd just be nice to see more seasons. And it's like, when if they can do it and people want to see it, why don't they keep going?
I don't know. Because, that's what TV is for. Movies, it's debatable because, it's a movie. And, movies take a lot of energy to make, but TV shows were designed to continue past one season. They weren't just made to be like movies that are extended.
Yeah. So, back to the movie. So
you brought it up.
So anyway, he's wearing this nice outfit. He has an umbrella, has a beautiful hat, and he has a top coat. And I told you the whole neighborhood around where this house was completely deteriorated, crumbling buildings, trash, homeless people looking through the garbage to look for whatever, and gangs, I guess.
Safi, we're not going to go through the whole movie. I don't know why you're trying to build up something where you're going to... Oh, God, you're going to go through the story.
Things change when he gets hit.
Oh, God.
It happens so fast, I kind of missed it. I don't know. by a rich woman, and that's how the whole movie changes. Where he has fantastic luck. I should just say luck, because it's just so funny how they just assume, and everything when he says his name is Chauncey and that he's a gardener, but they think they jump to the conclusion his name is Chauncey Gardner. I mean, just the whole thing.
I've already
That's
said
the way
that.
it is all the way throughout the movie.
I've already said that.
He meets a Russian ambassador, and he says something, and the Russian automatically thinks he speaks Russian. And then you hear somebody say, I hear he speaks 8 languages. Like, oh my God.
Well, my favorite part, I think, because I didn't think the movie was very funny. Just like Shampoo. And, but I thought that maybe the funniest joke to me was when Shirley MacLaine interpreted that he likes to watch her have sex with herself, and then she's like, "What's wrong with you? Why aren't you enjoying this?" Meh. And then he's watching yoga on TV, and he just randomly starts like doing a yoga position. And, like, I thought that was hilarious.
Years ago, I used to watch that woman do the yoga on TV. She was on like at 6 a.m. on PBS.
And she was like trying to grab onto him too, and he like gets away from her, and he's just like doing yoga. Like, really, really weird.
Yeah, because he would watch TV, and everything they would do, he would imitate. I'm trying to think, like when he watched the president. This is like a news thing. He saw the president shaking hands with all these people, so he pretended to shake hands. He would shake hands. He put his hands together and shake.
Yeah.
And he'd do it several times, as many times as the president did with all these different people. And then the older gentleman the rich husband, Shirley MacLaine, who's really old and he's really sick, and he has to get blood transfusion.
That's another thing. I know that people can get really sick, but I don't like these movies where like people are just sick the whole movie.
And he was sick the whole movie.
I don't like those types of movies. I don't care if that sounds wrong. I don't care. Like, I just don't like it.
Well, he's dying. He has his own, he built this whole medical clinic inside next to his bedroom. And so they have everything. He gets blood transfusions constantly. He has a doctor who's there just all the time. A whole staff of nurses. Anyway, he says, the president is coming, and I'm going to get dressed, and we're going to go see him together. And I'm thinking, the president of the corporation or business that he owns? And he means the president of the United States. And I'm like, oh my God. And it just goes on from there, and all these...
I was really just looking, I guess, in the movie for more comedic things with, like, him misunderstanding real life based on television. I feel like it was a concept where you could have done a million things with it, like with, misunderstandings that someone could have from only watching TV. And you really didn't get that at all in this movie.
Done that. But in that Sleepy Hollow show, where, the guy comes back from, basically the American Revolution, and he sees things on TV or whatever. You had all kinds of comedic things. All kinds.
And this is supposed to be a comedy, which Shampoo is supposed to be a comedy too, but look where that turned out.
They could have done that very easily.
So I would say this movie should probably be remade. You should have Steve Carell play the role of Chauncey, right?
No.
That'd be pretty perfect. And then make it funny, make it like he misunderstands things, and just make it like good, because like this movie wasn't very good. It seems to have fooled a lot of people though.
We have to do a different director.
This movie has an 8 out of 10 on IMDb. It's got like a 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd. Like, I don't know what movie those people watched, but like, I guess I don't understand the message, so...
Well, I like the movie, but I just...
Well, it's lame.
Well, I don't know if I want to watch it again, but I did like it. I don't understand all the way through. Everybody misunderstands him.
This movie is
and
like
they just make assumptions.
I'm ready to give my food review because I can't stand it. Like we can still keep talking about it, but like this movie.
Can I just say what happens at the end? The guy dies, of course.
The old guy. Well,
Yes.
they're all old in the movie. A lot of old people in
He's
this movie.
very old, and it's I can't think of his name, but anyway, they're having a funeral service outside, and they're going to put him in his crypt. They're carrying the coffin up the stairs, and they're talking about. It sounded like they want to get a presidential candidate.
Yeah.
And then they bring up this guy. Oh, I think Chauncey Gardner would be a good candidate. I'm like, oh my God. But the last scene, you see Chauncey, he went off by himself. And he didn't want to stand and hear, I guess, the funeral thing, service. And he goes and fixes like a branch and makes the tree, which is smashed down on the ground, brings it up so it's growing, or it's a bush, who knows. And then he goes in the water, and I thought, is there a pathway? Because you can see the mansion in the background at the other end of the lake. And guess what mansion it is? It's the Biltmore in North Carolina, Asheville, which is very famous. And he starts walking on the water to the mansion, I guess.
And that's where it's just fully like,
That's
okay,
what?
symbolism.
Symbolism of.
I don't know.
That's how it ends.
He's supposed to be God or something. I don't know. I really don't know.
I don't know either. But he is never trying to misrepresent himself. He's never trying to lie. He's not being disrespectful. None of those negative things. It's all like he's just unaware. But then he is aware in certain terms, like he knows about an elevator, I think, or maybe not. He knows about a car because he's seen it on TV. But like they didn't do anything with that.
No.
He starts riding in the car. He's really nervous about getting in. And he starts riding, says, oh, things look a lot different when you're in one of these things. But that's about it. There's nothing.
So anyways, my food review, there was one time, I don't remember who it was or where it was, but this movie is like when you go over to like a relative's house, like just some random relative, and like they have pie. And, like, I don't really eat pie very much. And, like, this random relative that you never really met before, relatives, they're like, what would you like? Would you like rhubarb pie? And then I for some reason, I accepted having rhubarb pie. And, rhubarb pie is not very good.
No, you have to mix it with
Neither is this movie.
strawberry or cherry or something.
This movie was like the rhubarb pie of movies. And I don't know who that was. I don't know. We did a puzzle. They had like a puzzle at their house. Safi?
Oh, was that in Indianapolis or Richmond?
I don't know.
The Carlson people.
How am I supposed to?
No,
That's
they're
why I'm
not-
asking.
It wasn't Carlson or something else. So.
They had like a puzzle. It was like some sort of vintage diner puzzle or something. Because like there was nothing to do. And they were like, what kind of pie do you want? You want rhubarb or do you want something else? And I just said rhubarb. And it's like, yep, rhubarb pie. Rhubarb pie movie. Safi's favorite.
No,
Safi, what do you think?
I don't know if I've had. I guess I have, but I don't know. I was just trying to think of something that he would eat during the movie. And they never really said what they were eating. That was the weird thing. And I'll just say some clam chowder with some crackers and a cup of tea. But that's Chauncey, and he's just like, he is what he is. He's not anything else. not what anybody else thinks or says, except that he seems to be a good person. And he chooses his words carefully, but that's because he doesn't know. But it's not like he gives that impression that he doesn't know. It's like he's choosing his words carefully. Like he's really brilliant. And that's what they keep saying during the whole movie. People say, oh my God, he's so brilliant. He's so smart. You know, I hear he speaks 8 languages, etc., etc. And, oh no, the FBI and the CIA, one of them expunged his records because they can't find anything on him. He's never been out of the house. There's no records of him. He has no social security card. He has no driver's license. He has nothing. So they think, they come to these conclusions, all these erroneous conclusions. So I'll just say, he is what he is, and he seems very elegant or something, I don't know.
Elegant?
And it's so funny, they show the maid, because they show him when he gets on a TV show, and they start asking him all this economic questions, and he starts, like he did with the president, he starts talking about gardening. So they come to these conclusions that the economy is like a garden. It's going to be slow for a while, like in fall and winter, and then in the spring there's going to be this growth. But he doesn't say economy, he talks about the garden. And so he's on TV, so his maid, the one who's making meals for him his whole life, she's known him since he was a kid. And
she never gives any sort of background on him either. And
no,
it was kind of frustrating, because you're like, this can't be a real character. This is like a metaphorical character, or a symbolic character, and I really don't care what it actually is, because it just wasn't that interesting to me. Like, this movie wasn't bad. It wasn't bad like Shampoo, but it wasn't good either. It was like one of those movies where it's like, yep, and Safi picked that one.
Well, I didn't know. I just assumed, and it's.
Well, Safi, you should have looked at the director, see it's the guy who made Shampoo, and move on.
Oh, I didn't see Shampoo.
That doesn't matter.
I just wasn't interested in watching Warren Beatty give women shampoos.
That's not what the movie's about.
Oh, I don't know what the movie's about. I've never seen it.
Well, you should have just seen that he made that and go, no. Absolutely no.
It's just, I wasn't interested in seeing it, so.
Well,
anyway, so that's why I give it, because it's just simple, but nice. And to me, that describes him.
Yeah, your mom's simple and nice.
Marco, that's really, I don't know why you say that stupid stuff. Anyway.
Well, I mean, come on, pick a movie. Don't pick Peter Sellers wandering around going like, oh, this place is like a garden. Everything's like a garden. I'm Chauncey. Like, pick a movie.
Okay, well, I don't know what else to say, but...
Say something else.
So that's our movie.
Say something funny.
Today.
Say something silly.
It's a 2-hour movie.
Say something retarded.
Shush.
Like, this movie's a masterpiece.
No. I've never said there's a movie that's a masterpiece.
Oh, I have, so suck on that.
I did like Rear Window, and I thought that was really... That's my favorite movie.
Yeah, you have a crush on Grace Kelly.
With Jimmy Stewart and Grace Kelly. And,
well, Shirley MacLaine's pretty good, but...
Well, she is.
I didn't even know it was her.
She's a biatch now.
I didn't even know it was her in this movie at first, because, like, I don't know, her hair has never been very good looking.
She has wild, short
She's
hair.
got weird hair. It looked good in The Trouble with Harry, I guess, but, like, it always looks strange. Like, she needs to get something done with that.
No, too late now.
No,
She's an older lady.
It's never too late, Safi.
Be quiet.
You're just jealous because you don't have any hair to do anything with.
Okay, Marco, that's real cute.
Oh, it's true. You could get a wig.
I don't want to get a wig.
Why
I don't
not?
want to look like a fake. I don't like, unless I have a lot of money to buy something that you would never know. I'm not going to do it because it looks fake and
Maybe you could get a wig that looks like Shirley MacLaine's hair.
No, I have no desire.
I know that you want to emulate. You want to emulate Shirley MacLaine.
I don't like Shirley MacLaine at all.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't. I mean, yeah, she was really good in younger time, but
The Apartment.
Yeah, that was a good show. With wasn't Jack Lemmon in that? Her and Jack Lemmon. But I don't know. I saw that. I've seen that, but it's been a while.
Well, so anyways, this movie, it's unfortunate there's not much to talk about because it's like nothing happened. It was
just people misunderstanding.
Yeah.
And I thought I waited and waited until the very end and is the other shoe going to drop? Because every time they have a story like this, we talked about this before doing the review, something happens and he's found out and we're going to blame him. And
then there's a sad period and then he has to make up for it because he's a terrible person.
But he's not a terrible person. It's their fault for assuming everything they were thinking is true. And the old man, I think the doctor finally found out. I think he is suspected all the time. The doctor took care of the older gentleman. He went to see the lawyer, the one who is going to kick him out of the house. Or who did kick him out of the house and said, you have to get out of here by noon tomorrow.
Yeah.
And the guy remembered, Chauncey remembered the name of the lawyer. And so he told the doctor his name. And so he did go to see him, and the guy told him, he was living there and all this stuff about that he'd never been out of there, and that he'd showed him his room, and that he took care of the garden. And so the doctor came back, and I thought he was going to tell the old man. The old man was about to die, and he just refused his last life-saving injection of whatever. And he said, I'm not afraid to die anymore because of Chauncey for some reason. And so I think the doctor was about to tell him, but I think he changed his mind. So I think the doctor knew that he was really a gardener and he was really just a simple man who lived in this house. And he had to leave, and that was it. And all the stuff they said about him, he could speak 8 languages, and he's an economic wizard. And blah, blah.
It's a weird title, too, being there.
I don't understand what that means either. So, and nothing ever happened, and I'm just glad of that, because I thought he better not get in trouble, because they all made, assumed all this stuff about him. He never said that. He never said his last name was Gardner. Never. In fact, and like we said, he never said his last name. I don't remember hearing it. And it would have been right at the very beginning somewhere. So anyway, that's it. So nothing.
Yeah.
And in the end, he walks on water. Now, what the hell is that supposed to mean? And we don't know at all. So it's a mysterious movie. It was supposed to be a comedy. You laugh at, like, here and there during the movie because people are so stupid because they just assume these things and they're stupid because they're not true. So that's it. So anyway, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Tell us if you've seen the movie. Probably not. And like I said, it was made in 1979. It's not a modern movie. And become one of our subscribers. And that's it. So goodbye, everybody.
Bye.